ready? You think you could tell us what to do? You think you could tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Break it down.
Yeah, bow to the masters. That's us. We are the masters. We're the masters of sports talk. That's right. I am Ralph Williams, and by phone here we have my co-host here for Pittsburgh Sports Talk, and that is Smokin Jim Frazier. And Smokin Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. Always an honor to be on with you, brother.
No, I appreciate that, and I know what you're saying out there. Another night of sports talk with the two of us. Well, there's nothing wrong with that because we want to give you as much of a menu of our sports talk wisdom as we can. And that's exactly what we're going to do here tonight as well. Don't forget, if you don't catch us on Tuesday, you can catch us on Wednesday. So that's the way it works here with Pittsburgh Sports Talk. We're on our 4 social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. All right, Smokin Jim, let's get started here tonight. We have lots to talk about as usual. The big story in town is David Bednar getting booed out of PNC Park the other day. Gave up 4 runs, and or yesterday gave up 4 runs in the ninth inning and getting booed out of PNC Park. I think that what the Pirates should have done was they should have put him on an immediate rehab assignment. And instead, they brought him up for the to start the season. He's still not, his velocity still isn't there on his pitches, and he's still hurting from whatever injury he has. Okay, so I think the Pirates laid an egg on this one. I would rather see them bring up Paul Skeens and let him pitch 2 innings and be a closer for a little bit, get him blended into the major league system, rather than him sitting down in the minors not doing anything, other than the 2 innings he does down there. What do you think of this idea here with Bednar?
Man, I tell you what, I can't add anything, Ralph. I agree with everything you just said, brother.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me at all. Why would you bring an injured guy up here and then throw him out there to the Wolves to try to pitch and be the closer? And then you got that Adarius Chapman. He pitched the other day or 3 days ago, and he pitched in Bednar's role, and he went 2-3 innings and didn't give up any runs. So I don't understand what the Pirates are doing here, but they better shape up here because they're only 9-3, and I hope we don't have what we had last year when they were 20-8. They ended up going down the toilet, and then toward the end of the year had to pick it back up. So we'll see what happens here. Also, John Calipari has a new home. He's leaving Kentucky to go to Arkansas. And I know you guys were talking about it on the base. I call it the basement broadcast, I guess. So anyway, I know you guys were talking about it earlier in the basement there with Jim Allen Bogan and Al Levine and yourself. And Kentucky, wants to be greedy. It seems like the administration wants it all. They're not satisfied with just the NCAA tournament bid. They want it all. What do you think that this greed or this onset of thinking by this administration for Kentucky is going to bite them in the butt?
Well, no, I think it was time for John to move on. I mean, he's always moved on, stayed somewhere about 10 years, and he moves on. I think this is his last stop. He's right around 65 years old now. He got a 5-year contract to take him up to 70 years old. I think he's going to do very, very well with Arkansas. But for John Calipari to work, I think you got to have the enthusiasm of everybody in the school, from the administration on down to the president and, the fundraisers and everybody else. And I think it was starting to get a little stale there at Kentucky. I tell you what, everybody is going to be behind him at Arkansas, and I would not be surprised to see him win a national championship there within the 5-year period.
Oh, you know what they always say, don't you? It's all in the name. And John Calipari is a name. Okay, he's a guy who can recruit. He's won. He has a name, and I wouldn't. Kentucky might struggle for a couple of years. And I know Kentucky is not or is a good job to have. Okay, that's what I mean. After but it all depends on if Calipari cleans it out. If he cleans out Kentucky and takes all them players with him or whatever, and Kentucky ends up on the short end of the stick, you got to blame administration for that. But anyway, as you mentioned, he's 65 years old, and he's going to Arkansas, maybe, or Arkansas. When was the last time you saw them in a NCAA tournament? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Arkansas's like, oh, wait a minute, we got John Calipari here. At least we'll be winning for about 5 years. You know what I mean? Where they're not used to that stuff. Arkansas is probably licking their chops. They'll probably sell out every game now. Where before they were probably lucky if they got 1,000 people, because Arkansas is more of a football school to begin with. I mean, so Arkansas's had some great football coaches over the years. So one to come to mind, although he didn't do well in Arkansas, was Bobby Petrino. Everybody remembers him.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
well, speaking of college basketball, you think Huggins will get the Louisville job, or do you think Huggins is just going to stay retired?
Woo. I think he still wants to coach. I think somebody might give him a chance. Louisville, I don't know if that's the right place for him, even though he did coach in Cincinnati, which is real close to Louisville. So maybe Louisville's down far enough right now. Louisville's always been a great program, but they've been down. They've been doormats lately. So they may give Huggins a shot because anywhere he goes, he plays competitive basketball. So that might be a good fit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You know it. So, all right, this segment was brought to you by Sleep Pittsburgh. Call 412-462-7858, Sleep Pittsburgh, for the best sleep tonight. They have a great selection of bunk beds, futons, day beds, and mattresses, some great prices. So check them out today. Also, no credit check financing, sleeppittsburgh.com. Check out their website or call them up again, that number 412-462-7858, or visit them on 8th Avenue in Homestead. All right, Smokin' Jim, we're going to talk about the draft here tonight. We're going to dissect a few things. Each team here, we're going to go into, I think we might be able to get the most of these teams tonight. We're not just going to talk about what the Steelers needs are. I'm going to go over what all teams' needs are here. We can talk about it tonight and see what would be best for each team. You're the general manager. You are a scout. You know a little bit more of some of these athletes than I do, but I think we can throw a few things in there. Oh, by the way, I found out today that the Steelers have cut that punter that they signed, and they're going to draft Ryan Ragu from BYU as a punter in the first round. So I just want to let you know that. So. Ryan Ragu. This one publication I have here, Smokin' Jim, has the Steelers rated with a B over the last 2 years for draft. Do you agree with that?
I don't know how 2 years ago they could have said that. That was a horrible draft.
Well, I'm sorry.
2 years ago.
I'm sorry. This is a 5-year breakdown. 5-year breakdown grade.
Wow.
Now,
well,
yeah, we'll
most
start.
of the people that they drafted in the last 5 years not even still on the team. So I don't even know how they're even saying that, brother.
Oh, I know. But you have, the Steelers. We've discussed this before. I've had some bad drafts over the years. The last one Kevin Colbert did, there's a few guys still on the field. Pickens, Austin, and then you got that DeMarvin Lewell. He hasn't seen the field very often. He hasn't done well.
Right.
And Kenny Pickett's no longer with the team. So
Right.
Kevin Colbert's last draft was a bust. You know what I mean? When your first round draft pick's playing for another team after only 2 years, it's a bust. So all the years that Kevin Colbert's been the GM, Smokin' Jim, what grade do you think you'd give him?
I'd say he got there in 2000. So I'd say from 2000 until Tomlin got the job in 2007. I would say that was an A
Okay.
because Bill Cowher handled all those duties. He pretty much took over in 2007 because Tomlin was a young coach, just concentrated on the football team. So from 2007 to 2015, 16, 17, I'd give it an F. And after that, I give it a D.
Okay, we're going to go over all the grades by this publication of every team. Arizona Cardinals, 5-year breakdown. They gave them a C plus rating. All right. Last year's draft, they drafted Paris Johnson Jr., who the Steelers were looking at for a guard or tackle. I mean, they took B.J. O'Hara in the second round. They took Garrett Williams, corner from Syracuse, and then they took center John Gaines the second. And in the fourth round, third round, Michael Wilson from Stanford. And then the sixth round, the last pick they took was Dante Stills, defensive end from West Virginia. So what do you, Clayton Tune? I don't even know if he even made the field. 5th round draft pick quarterback from Houston. They had him projected a little bit high. He was a good quarterback at Houston under Dana Hogerson down there in Houston. What are your thoughts on Arizona at this point?
Below average.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, that alone is a below average. I mean, a C plus rating, and Jonathan Gannon's their coach, and I told everybody, and I think I'm probably going to be right, that Jonathan Gannon is not the coach for that team. Those Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen. Steichen's done a pretty good job in Indianapolis. He did a really good job there this past year. But anyway, Jonathan Gannon, these guys were just coordinators for one season in Philadelphia. I can't figure out how in the world they end up becoming a head coach that quickly. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Yes,
So Atlanta is a C rating, 5-year breakdown. Last year under Arthur Smith, they took running back Bijan Robinson in the first round, and then they took a name of notoriety, DeMarcus Helms from Alabama, safety. They took in the 7th round. Clark Phillips the third and the 4th round. They only had four, 6 picks, 2 7th rounders, no 5th, no 6th round, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so they were given a C rating in the last 5 years, which is about where Arthur Smith's been there that long. Your thoughts on Atlanta?
Again, below average. I thought the running back was a good pick.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson. I thought that was a good pick, but yeah, they just another below average draft.
How about Baltimore Ravens? Zay Flowers played pretty good this year or last year. B plus rating on him on their 5-year breakdown. They had Trenton Simpson in the 2nd round, Travis Tavarius Robinson, outside linebacker, Mississippi, KU Blue Kelly, well, whoever that is, cornerback from Stanford, 5th round, Malazea Maraka Luwu, guard from Oregon, and then Andre Voorhees. I don't know if he's any relation to Jason Voorhees, guard at USC. So, your thoughts on the Ravens?
Pretty good. They drafted pretty good, pretty well over the years, man. Even when Ozzie Newsome was there, they've always put together solid drafts, man. So I remember the one year they got I think in 2022 they got the center that you wanted,
Yes. Yes.
Linderbaum, and yeah, they've always drafted well.
Okay, now we're with the Buffalo Bills. Dalton Kincaid, he was a nightmare against the Steelers in the playoff game. Osiris Torrance, Dorian Williams, Justin Shorter, Nick Broker, and Alex Austin. Seems like all these guys made the team, and I think they pretty much played. B minus rating for the last 5 years. Buffalo's needs are wide receiver, defensive line, and safety. What do you think about the Buff Bills?
Well, like you said, that tight end played pretty well last year. Buffalo's always been up and down in their drafts. I thought Tremaine Edmonds, when they got him in 2018, along with quarterback Josh Allen, was an outstanding draft for them. But they had some others that they didn't have a first round choice, or people didn't pan out for them.
All right. Here we have, let's see what we got here. Carolina Panthers. Their 5-year breakdown is a D plus rating. Their number one pick was your favorite quarterback, Bryce Young. And Jonathan Mingo was their second round pick. DJ Johnson from Oregon, and Chandler Zavala and Jamie Robinson from safety from Florida State. Their new coach is Dave Canales, former quarterbacks coach, who was the quarterbacks coach for Russell Wilson in Seattle and with Geno Smith. And he was the offensive coordinator last year who helped your buddy Baker Mayfield down in Tampa. He is now their new head coach. I don't think we have much to say about Carolina.
Well, anytime you miss with the number one pick overall and it's a quarterback, it's going to set your franchise back a bit. I think their best two picks probably over the last 10 years was receiver DJ Moore, who now plays for Chicago, and Christian McCaffrey, who now plays for
San Francisco.
the 49ers.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you give away your best two prospects.
And then Deontay Dropson's over there now, so we'll see what he does. If you thought Bryce Young was bad last year, oh my. So, all right, the Chicago Bears, Smokin' Jim. I don't know how they gave him this grade, but the last 5-year breakdown, their grade's a B plus rating. Well, the record doesn't show it's a B plus rating. So, but anyway, their needs are quarterback, of course, wide receiver, and center. And then also their 2023 draft, their first round pick was Darnell Wright, tackle out of Tennessee. And I'm looking for some other notable names that might be in here. Tyler Scott, the wide receiver from Cincinnati, they picked last year, and he was a good wide receiver with Cincinnati. He was picked in the 4th round. Chicago Bears.
Well, they have a chance to make some hay this year. I never really was a big fan of Darnell Wright, especially when I think he was a top 10 pick for them last year.
Right.
For the most part, man, they did not have first round draft choices a lot. They got 2 of them this year. Whenever they did, they blew it. Mitch Trubisky, the second pick overall, I think that was 2017. And then you give up on Justin Fields when you just got him in 2021,
right?
Because you don't want to pay him. So they have a chance. They had a good offseason. They brought in some receivers. So they got 2 first round picks. So let's see what they do this year.
You know who Justin Fields' coach was the first year he played?
No.
His quarterback's coach was Rick Neuheisel.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Remember Rick Neuheisel?
Yeah, he was a head coach in college football, was a college quarterback.
Well, yeah, and then he was in that. He was also a head coach at that American, what was it, Alliance of American Football or something, the one that Hines Ward headed up, and it went bankrupt or something at the end of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a head coach there, and I think he was a head coach with the first XFL that came around. He was a head coach. So,
Okay.
But yeah, he was, and he also was the quarterback's coach at Baltimore. He was Trent Dilfer's quarterback's coach for a little bit.
Wow.
So, and then he got kicked out of college because he was gambling, and he ended up getting kicked out of college, went to the pros. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, because when he coached at Washington, they found out that he was betting on games or doing something. So,
Yeah, he lost a good job there.
Yeah, I wanted him to be Pitt's coach, and that was before all the mess came around. And I called Stan Savran up, and Stan says, Ralph, who do you think, who's your, he was having you pick the coach day or something for Pitt. And I said, how about Rick Neuheisel? And he went, nope, it's Rick Oldheisel. We need somebody younger than that, So, yeah, he said Rick Oldheisel, So
It'd have been good for Pitt, I thought.
what's that?
I think he would have been good for
Oh,
Pitt.
yes, he would have. I thought too. I really did. I thought too. I thought he would have been as well. I wanted him more than Matt Cavanaugh. Believe me. Oh, look what he did to Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez was horrible with the Jets. He was the quarterbacks coach there. Oh, was he terrible? Oh, he was bad. I mean, he wasn't that great of a player to begin with, but he was bad there. So, Cincinnati Bengals, a C rating in the last 5 years. They've won a lot of games. I don't get that, but their number one pick last year was Miles Murphy, defensive end from Clemson, and number two pick, notable name DJ Turner, defensive back from Michigan, and Chase Brown, running back from Illinois. And then their needs are offensive tackle, defensive tackle, and wide receiver. Same old story with the Bengals, Smokin Jim. Offensive line kicks them in the ass every time. Your thoughts on the Bengals?
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I didn't care for their draft last year, and they've been up and down. I mean, when you take a Joe Burrow, I think in 2020, and then a Jamar Chase in 2021, that's pretty good. But then I think it was 2018 or 2017, they take John Ross the third
Oh,
because he
yeah,
was
that was.
fast. I don't think he
That
got a
was
pass. I don't think he got a
I
pass
don't think he
in the
played.
NFL, but
I don't think he played. Oh my gosh.
so yeah, so it's been up and down for those guys.
Hey, I was watching a game today on NFL Network. It was one of those replay games from 2016, Dallas versus the Steelers. Our buddy Artie
Uh-huh.
Burns was in the defensive backfield. Our buddy Artie
Oh
Burns.
no.
Yeah. He just re-signed with Seattle too. They gave him a
Oh, that's
contract.
crazy. He's still in the league. Wow.
Oh man, he's still in the league. So is Devin Bush. Oh my.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. Cleveland Browns. They got a B rating for their 5-year their 5-year drafting. They didn't have any number one pick or two pick last year, but their third round pick was Cedric Tillman, wide receiver from Tennessee. We all know who he is. And Dorian Thompson Robinson, who I thought the Steelers should have taken. They took him in the 5th round. He's the quarterback from UCLA, and he did play this year a little bit. I think every quarterback, including some guy off the street, played for Cleveland this year until they got Flacco. So I think I'm gonna wave in on this real quick. Cleveland Browns. I've said it many times. I think there'll never be a good team ever. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care what you think. Okay, I know that they had a reasonable year this year, and surprisingly enough, but I'm just not satisfied with. I'll never be satisfied with them. Not only because they're in the division, they just don't. They just, for some strange reason, make a lot of boneheaded mistakes. Stebnowski makes coaching mistakes, and then Stefanski, he makes all kinds of mistakes there, and so and they're drafting mistakes as well. Your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns?
Well, we'll agree to disagree because I think Cleveland's absolutely loaded, but I don't think they had a first round draft choice in 23 or 22 for some reason. And don't forget, they gave up on Baker Mayfield. I think he was a 2018 number one pick overall. And then they gave up on first round quarterback. I think it was back in 2013 or 14, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, they gave up on Manziel. Yeah, they give up too quickly on these quarterbacks. Tim Couch.
And
They had some bad drafts, man, with some quarterbacks.
Yeah, they had some bad quarterbacks. But Myles Garrett is a guy that's been holding them on. And I think that Myles Garrett came the same year. I think that African tight end came the same year in 2017 as Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
And
that
they've both been doing
Najobi or
pretty good.
Njoku.
Yeah.
The guy from Miami. Yeah.
So
I wanted the Steelers to get him.
I say the draftsmen are a little below average.
Okay. All right. Juana says, good evening to both of us. Thank you, Juana. She is a very And she's always watching all the programs here of RW Media, Smokin' Jim.
Oh,
So
thank you. Thank
she
you,
says
Juan.
hello, and she's a very good watcher of the show. We're going over the NFL draft here. We're going over team by team. We're Smokin' Jim and I are giving our opinions as to what we think these teams could draft, or what their draft was last year, their grade next year, or not next year, next week here on Pittsbrgh Sports Talk. We're going to talk more draft. We're going to go over all these teams, and we're going to see who their number one pick could be in their draft position. And then Tuesday, I'm working on getting a guy on from Amped Up Sports to talk about the New York Giants. And then I've reached out to AJ Curtis from Amped Up Sports to see if I can get him to come on and talk about the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals as part of our 32-team tour of the NFL, where we're going to have somebody from all 32 teams come on and talk. And I'm working on getting somebody from Minnesota and Green Bay. So, it's going to be a big smorgasbord full of guests throughout this year and talking about all 32 NFL teams. All right. So,
The booking machine.
that's right. I'm the booking machine. You know it, man. Every show almost. We're going to go back to the open show format coming up. It depends on if I can get any guests. If I get no guests, it'll be an open show. We've had a few open shows, didn't get any callers. So, so that's why I book guests a lot too. And, but it's also very unique about the fact that we don't just talk about the Steelers all the time. We talk about other NFL teams as well. So, that's the interesting part about it. And I love football, and so do you, Smokin' Jim. So there you go. All right. The rest of this segment is brought to you in part by the original Hometown Pizza, 412-264-4444. The original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, right on University Boulevard. Call them today. Use my name, Ralph Williams, and you will get a discount on your order. The original Hometown Pizza. All right, the Dallas Cryboys. 5-year breakdown. They had an A- in their grade. Last year, they drafted Mazi Smith, defensive tackle for Michigan. Luke Stoudemire, tight end for Michigan. They also drafted, let me see here. Oh, this kid was good. This Villani Vahuko, defensive lineman from San Jose State. And let me see who else is on this list. Jalen Brooks, the wide receiver from South Carolina. Your thoughts on the Cryboys?
Well, I don't know. I thought it was. I thought Macy Smith, the DT from Michigan, had all the talent in the world, but he really didn't play that much at Michigan, and I don't know how well he did last year for the Cowboys. But there's rumors now that one Van Der Esch had to retire because of injury.
Yes.
He was a first round
Yes,
pick.
I wanted the Steelers to take him when in the
Me
first
too.
round. That Van Der Esch.
Me too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
sure
I
did.
would have rather them take
And,
Van Der Esch than Bush. Hey, because he was in the same
and-
draft, Smokin' Jim.
Yeah. Don't forget, also Carlton was a first round draft choice of the Dallas Cowboys, and I think they took him over T.J. Watt. That didn't turn out real well.
No. Charlie
and-
Casserly. Charlie Casserly was the one that said the Steelers were going to take Taco Charlton in the first
I'm
round.
glad we didn't.
Oh man,
And,
that would have been another one of
you know,
Tomlin's bus.
But C.D. Lamb is just falling in the line of another great 88 to play for Dallas. But I don't know if you heard, Ralph. I don't know if you had a chance to pay attention, but they're saying Dallas is souring on Micah Parsons because of his podcast and the negative things or the controversial things that he's been saying. And so he could be on the trading block. I don't know if you
Oh,
heard that yet.
no, I did not hear that. Whoa.
Oh,
Well, I
and
do
he
know.
was
Wait a minute.
at-
Hold on. I do know Michael Parsons did make some comments about somebody in the Steelers organization, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
That was about 2-3 months ago. I think it was. Oh no, it was about the Kenny Pickett trade. I think he made some comments, and then he made comments about T.J. Watt. That's who it was. Because
Okay.
remember everybody was bitching because T.J. Watt didn't get the award over Myles Garrett, and Michael
Yeah.
Parsons said T.J. Watt's not that good anyway. Myles Garrett deserved it, or he
Wow.
made some kind of derogatory comment, stirred up a big stew pot all over the broadcast world. Now I remember what it was. Yeah, he started with
Well,
T.J. Watt. Yeah,
he could
so
be looking. You might want to investigate that because they're looking to maybe trade him. So I
yeah,
don't know what all that happened, but I guess they're getting fed up with his podcast and his outspokenness. So
yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah, I think they're getting fed up with it, and some of these teams, Smokin' Jim, they're all starting to do it now. They're not playing around no more. They're starting to,
wow,
look at the character of some of these players. Guys who were doing stupid things. Look at Cam Sutton. He got cut by Detroit. For his
mm,
nonsense, and these teams are not
mm,
taking it anymore. I mean, they'll
wow,
cut you in an instant second and take your money and go get another player. You know what I mean? I mean,
wow,
that's the way it is now
wow.
with the NFL. You got these teams that are doing this. So all right, Denver Broncos. I don't even want to talk about them. C rating. Uh, Last year they didn't have a first round pick because of the Deshaun Watson trade. I think Marvin Mims Jr. was their last year was their number one pick. And your thoughts on Denver? Denver's a mess. They're going to have to really rebuild this team, and by getting rid of Russell Wilson didn't help their cause. And then they got egg on their face. They're paying all that money for him, and the Steelers are sitting here laughing last. So your thoughts on Denver?
Well, I don't think they had a first round pick the last couple of years,
No, they didn't
if I
because of the
remember
Deshaun
correctly.
Watson thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm not sure if Patrick Surtain is a great
Or not
cornerback.
Deshaun
Is he
Watson,
still with?
something or not Deshaun Watson. Gosh, they didn't have a first round pick because of a couple different moves they made. Yeah, but it wasn't
Okay.
Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry, I got confused. That was Houston that gave him up. Yeah, that's right. What am I talking about? All right, go ahead.
Now I'm not sure if cornerback Patrick Surtain is still on that team or not. But he was a good player. But I know that Jerry Judy,
Yeah, Jerry Judy's gone.
former
Yeah,
Denver Bronco,
yep,
and don't forget that that's the team Denver back in I think 2017 drafted Paxton Lynch in the
yeah,
first round.
yes,
So
exactly.
you
Yeah, yeah.
know,
Oh, he was a
so
bust. I
they
want to tell you a little story about him. I'm going to tell you a little
okay.
story about Paxton Lynch. I was taking a woman who was a real estate agent. Are you familiar with those new Frick condominiums there before the Homestead Gray Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a little secret here. I don't know if he still does, but he was living there in that complex. I picked the lady
Okay.
up when I used to do Lyft, and I dropped her off in there, and she says, "Do you know who lives in here?" I said, "No." She said, "Pittsburgh Steeler quarterback Paxton Lynch." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, he lives in here." She says, "You don't seem to be too excited." I said, "Well, he's not an exciting player." So, yeah, Patrick Surtain, I think, is gone too. And Justin Simmons, I think he's still sitting out there, isn't he?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he's still
I'm not
sitting out
sure.
there.
That's a
He
good
was let
question.
go too. So it looks like Denver's cleaning house. So, all right, Detroit Lions. And of course, I have some friends. I have a guy named Jeremy Ballridge who covers Detroit Lions. He's a big time guy for the South Florida Tribune, and he covers the Detroit Lions. He has his own Lions podcast that's on every day, every morning on YouTube, and he's been doing this every week on his nightly show. He's been doing a draft, kind of a draft show, and the Lions they need corner because of Cam Sutton's nonsense. They need an edge rusher and they need a guard. So that's the needs that they have. Their offensive line is a little beat up, So, but your thoughts on the Detroit Lions?
Well, I tell you what, I think a couple years ago they got Hutchinson
Yes, they have
out of
him. Yes,
Michigan. He's a good player.
and that wide
I
receiver ain't on Russ St. Brown. He was good this year.
Oh,
That wide
yeah,
receiver.
that's
Yeah.
right. He put me in the minor
Yes, he
like
was.
Heinz Ward type. Yeah,
Yes.
he was good.
Yes.
I think that they're still cursed. Bobby Lane
The
proved
Bobby
that
Lane
again.
curse.
They were up 24-7 at halftime and still lost. So they're still a cursed organization. I don't know if they'll ever make it. I don't think they'll make it back to the championship game this year. But
It's
it's
hard.
already starting to
It's hard to do with some of these
unravel a little
teams,
bit.
you know. And
Yeah,
and don't forget, this regime right here is still cleaning up Matt Millen's mistakes.
yeah, yeah,
Remember Matt
yeah,
Millen's mistakes?
yes,
Oh man,
yes,
he makes
sir.
some big time mistakes, bad drafts. Matt Patricia coaching hire. Oh my gosh, you know, terrible. So yeah, his front office skills were bad. Wanda says starting to look at characters of players now. Yes, they are, and that's because of the money. I mean, you know, you're paying a guy $30 million a year to play, and then he's out there you know, doing domestic stuff, and then you got somebody else out there saying things on, you know, character is a key, some of an key ingredient here, because you know, a team is supposed to be together, everybody achieves more, but in most cases that's not the case, you know. So Green Bay Packers B rating for the last 5 years. Lucas Van Ness was their edge rusher. I wanted the Steelers to take him too. Last year I was looking at him. Luke Musgrove, tight end from Oregon State. That's Will Musgrove's son, former Florida coach. And Jaden Reed, wide receiver, Michigan State. Tucker Kraft, tight end, South Dakota State. You know, they had a lot of draft picks last year, Smokin' Jim. They had two twos, and let's see, 2 6s, 2 5s, and 4 7s. So, you know, they really went to town here. Central Michigan, this Lou Nichols, he was a good running back for them. Your thoughts on Green Bay?
I couldn't be more happier for Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers thought he was really sticking it to him by leaving after all that they did for them. But for Jordan Love, and I predicted as
Hey, you
well
said it,
that
Smoking Jim. You said it. He was going to be.
yeah,
He was a good quarterback last year. He finally got his turn.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he got an opportunity of a lifetime. Set the bench for about 4 years, and now he's the man. And I tell you what, man, if they can get the running back situation straight, I think AJ Dillon is not going to be re-signed, and Aaron Jones went to another team. So I know you had mentioned the running back that they got in the draft last year.
Yes.
So if one of these running backs can step up, that's probably, I'm not sure what your publication is saying, but they're probably going to be in line for a running back. And there's all the running backs will be available then. They say there's no running back that's going to go before the second or third round. So they got their pick.
Yeah, they have.
I would go after a running back if I was them.
Yeah, their starters Aaron Jones, and then they have Emmanuel Wilson and Patrick Taylor, and I think you said AJ Dillon is gone, correct?
Well, Aaron Jones is going too.
Yeah, yeah. So they do need.
Then again, did they bring the running back in from the Raiders? I think they brought
Yes,
that running.
yes. Josh
Yeah,
Jacobs.
so they're
Yeah, he's
set.
with them
Yeah,
now.
good,
Yes.
good
Yeah.
job, bro. I
Yes.
forgot about that. So they're set at running back. Yeah,
Yeah.
They got rid of Aaron Jones and they brought in the guy from
Josh
the Raiders.
Jacobs.
So.
Yeah.
Josh
Yeah.
Jacobs, yeah. So they should be okay. If the brother can play in the cold, we don't know.
There you go. That's a good one too.
Play in the cold, man.
All right. This part of our team 32 team overview of the draft of the different grades for their 5 years, and we're going over some players they could use or people that they could draft. Is brought to you in part by as well here, and we're going to hit all of our sponsors tonight. But we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-201-0500. Call Mata today. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Summer's coming up. Get your air conditioner taken care of. Mata will do it for you. Call, ask for Bill when you call. The number 724-201-0500. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. And then I want to talk to you today about draft412.com/draftnation. Draft412.com. They are the experts at this stuff at the draft. 2 people from the draft412.com will be my guests, our guests on Sports Corners Draft Edition, April 23rd, coming up in 2 weeks. Joe Kuglis, AJ, and JT Toth will join us for that event as well. Ray Fittipaldo from the Post-Gazette, and I'm working on 3 other guests, and we're going to see who those 3 other guests. Also, I forgot about Bubba Brewer is joining us, and I've reached out to one of your partners in crime there, Smokin Jim, and I think you know who it is.
I do.
Yeah, one of your partners in crime.
Wow.
I'll give you a hint. You're on 2 shows with him.
Luther?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to Luther. Well, I reached out to both Luther and Claudio. Claudio said he's not that up on the draft, so I left a message for Luther. So we'll see if he comes on or what his schedule is. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, so I hope he joins us. I like his insight, and especially when you 2 go round and round. You 2 going round and round makes me laugh, man. That's funny. You got an L, Jim. Jim, you got an L. Jim, pocket watch. Jim, The Houston Texans had a great year this past year with their new coach, D'Amico Ryans. He's got that team up and moving, and C.J. Stroud had a really good year, and they have Devin Singletary as their running back there. And your thoughts on the Houston Texans?
Well, last year they did good in the draft. They had 2 first-round picks, and C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson.
Yes.
And I thought the chemistry on their team was outstanding, especially when you had to replace it to Deshaun Watson, who looked like it was going to be their future quarterback down there. But I did not like them bringing in the wide receiver from Buffalo. I think he's a cancer everywhere he's been. I thought that Stroud spread the ball around pretty nice. But now you're going to have some dissension on that offense with a guy who's been a problem for every team he's ever played on. So I can't think of the receiver's name from the Buffalo Bills, their top receiver.
Oh, hang on a minute. Hold on. You mean from last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on a minute. I got it right here. Wait a second. I can tell you in just a second here. Give me one moment.
I see he wore number 14.
Yeah, Stefan Diggs.
Stefan Diggs. He's playing now.
Yeah.
He's playing now with the Houston. And I thought that was a mistake for Houston bringing him in.
Yeah, and Gabe Davis is gone too. They better
go
go get a wide receiver. Gabe Davis is gone. He got signed by somebody.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gabe Davis is gone. I remember that. So yeah, he's gone.
Wow.
So I think that we'll see what Buffalo's going to need to get a wide receiver here. All right, we just got done with the Texans. Yeah, so Indianapolis Colts, second-year coach Shane Steichen, former offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, 5-year breakdown, a B rating. Anthony Richardson, quarterback, got hurt. They had to put in, what the heck is his name? The one from Jacksonville. I can't remember his name. Minshew, Gardner Minshew. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just signed with the Raiders. He was he just signed down there. They got rid of Garoppolo, and I think Garoppolo's still sitting out there. I think, but we'll see. I'll find that out. Juju Brents was her second-round pick. Josh Downs from North Carolina. I've seen him play several times against Pitt in some ACC games I watched. And your thoughts on Indianapolis Colts?
Well, I tell you, man, who knows when Anthony Richardson will be ready to play in the NFL. He was a project to begin with, and they kind of threw him in there, and he got hurt. So he needs some experience, and he really needs to watch for a couple of years. I'd have kept Minshew. It looks like they may lose their best receiver, Michael Pittman Jr. who looks like he may leave in free agency. So I think the Colts is in trouble, man. They've had several years where they didn't have a first round draft choice, and some of the first rounds that they had, they didn't hit on very big. So they need to have a great draft, and I tell you what, man, they're working their way out of a well.
Oh yeah. All right. Next, the Jacksonville Jags, as Myron Cope used to call them, Jacks Jags. So, all right. Juana says giving us good information on sports. Thank you, Juana. Appreciate that as well. And all right, Jacksonville Jaguars, Smokin Jim, 5-year breakdown C rating. Their first round pick last year was tackle Anthony Harris from Oklahoma, and Brenton Strange, tight end from Penn State. I wanted the Steelers to look at him, and he got drafted. And then my man, the Tank from Auburn, Tank Bigsby, running back from Auburn, was in the 3rd round. And then another guy I liked from small college, Cooper Hodges, guard from Appalachian State. And then Eric Hallett, the safety from Pitt, he was drafted by them last year. Parker Washington, wide receiver from Penn State of notoriety, was drafted. So your thoughts on Jacksonville Jaguars and what they're going to do?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You always got to kind of pull for Jacksonville a little bit. Kind of surprising. You know, they did well in 2021, I believe, when they brought in Trevor Lawrence and then brought in running back Travis Etienne. But it's been hit and miss in their picks. I thought they had a good season last year, but when Trevor Lawrence got hurt, you can tell that he kind of carried the team, and they weren't the same without him. So we'll just have to see. But I agree. You know, their draft's been a little below average.
Okay. I have some good news, Smokin Jim, for our draft show.
Yes, sir.
I just booked another guest. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Jason Mackey will make his return for draft show.
Oh, that's great.
5 o'clock,
That's great.
Jason Mackey for the draft show. So now we're up to 5 guests now. So there you are.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm working on a few more. So, it's going to, it's all, that's why I always call it the draft spectacular. Because you know me, I can put together a guest list and make it a spectacular. So,
That's right. You sure can.
So, but anyway, next, the Kansas City Chiefs without the Taylor Swift distraction. What's your thoughts on this?
I'm not sure who they drafted in the first round last year, bro.
Felix Aduke Ozma, defensive end from Kansas State.
Well, I know they blew it a couple years ago when they took the kid from New Kensington, Shadyside Academy, Skylar Moore.
Yeah, you were the one that was pushing for him, weren't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you wanted Skylar Moore. I forget who it was. Somebody wanted it.
He's dropping every pass known to man. But Kansas City's in a little bit of trouble. You know, they had their best wide receiver, Rice, drove his Ferrari, speed racing up and down the highway, got into an accident, left the scene of an accident.
Yes.
Lucky nobody was killed, but he'll probably be suspended. So the Kansas City Chiefs, again, I think this could be a non-Super Bowl year for them. I'm predicting the Pittsburgh Steelers go and win the Super Bowl.
Well, you know what, Smokin Jim, if they go to the Super Bowl, I got to do the show naked because that's what I said I was going to do.
Get ready, brother. Get ready, man.
Well, hey, you know it when I'm wrong, and when I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true, brother.
So, but anyway, next, the Las Vegas Raiders. I can't call them the Jokeland Raiders anymore because they're not from Oakland anymore. Rating for the last 5-year breakdown of their draft, a C. So their last year, their first round pick was Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. And the tight end from Notre Dame was their second round pick, Michael Mayer. He looked good last year. I wanted the Steelers to look at him. And their quarterback,
Mhm.
Aiden O'Connell, he played this year or this past year because
Okay.
Garoppolo was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played. And Amari Burney, that linebacker from Florida, he got drafted late, like in the 6th round or whatever. Hey, we got that Tice kid coming back if he comes back from his injury. Well, to add to the fray on our defensive backfield. You know that?
Wow. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah. From
yeah,
Wake
yeah. He
Forest.
was he
Yeah,
was
he played
supposed
good.
to he was supposed to go in the early rounds, and then he got hurt. So
Yeah.
Juana says doing your show naked, Ralph. You're so funny. It's not funny, Juana. I said I was doing it naked if the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, if the Pirates go to the World Series, or the Penguins go to the Stanley Cup. So yeah. So all right, your thoughts on the
Well,
Las Vegas Raiders? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I tell you what, man. Proud franchise. One, I would never have hired Pierce as the head coach. I would have liked somebody with some experience in there. They seem to like him, but I don't think Henry. I think Henry Ruggs the third was a first round draft choice out of Alabama. I think he's in jail. I think that Josh
Crosby's about the
Jacobs.
only guy they got.
Yeah,
Max
Crosby's a
Crosby.
great. Yeah, he's a great player. I don't think he was a first round choice though. I think Josh Jacobs is gone, running back.
Yeah.
He's in Green
Yeah.
Bay
He's in
now.
Green Bay. So
So,
they lost a lot of guys. And Antonio Pierce
and
is going to have his hands full down there. You're right. You know?
and don't forget, years ago they drafted Amari Cooper
Yes.
and
Yes.
Khalil Mack, and they just can't seem to keep people. I don't understand why people used to want to play for the Raiders. They don't anymore. So they got their work cut out for them.
Oh, they do. They do. All right. This next part of this, our draft team breakdown is brought to you by Fold and Travel Mobility. Call Fold and Travel Mobility today at 1-877-GOT-FOLD, GOTFOLD. Take it from me. I'm in a wheelchair, and I have a folding power wheelchair from Fold and Travel Mobility. Why? Because if I want to go to a big amphitheater to go see a concert, if I want to go to an amusement park, if I want to go somewhere where I need to go far and I need a folding power chair in my vehicle to take with me, so it's better for me to get around. Don't you want that kind of ability to do this? Well, if you're handicapped like I am, or if you're not handicapped and you know someone that is, you might want to get it for them as a gift, or you might want to get it for them because they need it. Call Fold and Travel Mobility 1-877 got fold 1-877-GOTFOLD or foldandtravelmobility.com. Get on there with the best. They have the best salespeople on there that are knowledgeable, and they also have some great products, and the prices are pretty decent, and they have sales, so check it out. Foldandtravelmobility.com. Los Angeles Chargers, Smokin' Jim. Their draft pick last year was Quentin Johnson, wide receiver, Texas Christian. Tuli Tulapola Olado, edge rusher from Southern Cal, was their 2nd-round pick. Max Dugan, quarterback from Texas TCU, was their 7th-round pick. Just some names of notoriety. Your thoughts on the Los Angeles Chargers with their new coach, Jim Harbaugh?
Well, I love Harbaugh. He's going to eventually turn them around, but I'm not sold on Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver. I think there's some question marks about him. Justin Herbert is the real deal. They got to surround him a little bit better. I love Derwin James, big time hitter, but he doesn't fit in today's NFL. He's going to be fined and suspended for his big hits. I think they drafted Mike Williams, wide receiver, in the 1st round, I believe. He's
Yes,
gone
yeah, he's gone.
with
Yes,
the Jets. Melvin Gordon the third was another 1st round running back. He's gone.
right.
I think Bosa is still on the team. Joey
Yes, Bosa's
Bosa, I
still
know
there.
that was a good
Yes.
pick. So I mean, they got Harbaugh got his work cut out for him, but he just got to have a good draft pick. I think they pick number 5 or 6 in the draft. So there's some good players here. He got to get him a good one.
You know what? Stetson Bennett was their backup last year. He played some games when Stafford was hurt, and I got to tell you, I called the shot on him. I said he could be drafted as a backup, and I was right, and he was drafted in the fourth
Wow.
round. See, the Steelers, if they're
Wow.
going to draft a quarterback this year, and we had this discussion yesterday, and we've been we're going to continue to discuss the draft going into the draft, and especially our draft show on Thursday, Thursday, August 25th, the first round of the draft. Smokin Jim, my wife, and myself, and Bubba Brewer, we're all going to be over at the draft party at Stage AE, hosted by Draft412.com, Draft Nation. And we're also we're going to be meeting. He just retired from the Rams. We're going to be meeting him. So over there, Aaron Donald,
Aaron Donald.
Aaron
Yeah.
Donald Foundation will be there. So you'll be seeing snapshots of us with pictures with Aaron Donald. So there you go.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, last year I met Craig Wolfley, I met Charlie Batch, I met Ryan Shazier, and I met Merrill Hodge. So.
Wow.
And if you saw some of the photos of some of the pictures I took with them, so and Batch was going to take a picture, but he had to go, so I couldn't get a picture with him, and he was there. So it was a nice little setup last year. It was the Ryan Shazier Foundation that hosted it. Now this year it's going to be the Aaron Donald Foundation. So it'll be nice. It's going to be a nice event. They have free food there too, so don't eat anything, Smokin Jim. So
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I will not be eating Permani sandwiches. You know my feelings about Permani. So I'm not going to go into it here. So, all right, I'm on a gag order. So, there you go. I'm not going to go there. To the Los Angeles Rams, and then we're going to wrap it up here because we only got a couple minutes. 2003 NFL Draft. They took Steve Avila, offensive guard from TCU. They had 2 3s, 2 5s, or I'm sorry, 4 5s, 3 6s, and 3 7s. That's how many draft picks they had last year. They were making up for lost time from the last 2 years that they didn't have any draft picks. So but that was their picks. Your thoughts on the Los Angeles Rams?
Woo. Well, they did not. I'm thinking back. I don't think the Rams, because I was comparing them to the Over the Hill gang. Remember, I think George Allen was their coach.
Yeah.
Didn't believe in rookies, so I don't think the Rams had a first round pick. Since almost Aaron Donald. I don't think they had a first round pick.
This Steve Avila.
7, 8
I'm
years.
sorry. The Steve Avila was in the second round. You're right. They haven't had a first round pick in a while. Yeah. Because what happened was Sean McVay has this theory that he wants to win with free agents and not with draft picks. That's his theory. And if you look at his theory in the years that he's coached, okay, it has kind of worked. But you got to have draft picks to build your team. And he had, and then last year was the first year they had a full draft in a long time. I think 2 years ago, I think they only had like 2 picks. I don't know what they did with their draft picks. I think they traded them all off to get all these players, kind of like what Mike Ditka did with Ricky Williams.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Smokin Jim. I bet you cracked up laughing when you saw what Ditka did.
Wow, I tell you what, man. I could see his reasoning. He thought Ricky Williams was the next Walter Payton, and that's all he needed, man. But it kind of backfired on him. Although Ricky was a good back, he wasn't Walter Payton,
right?
And you needed more than just one player.
Oh yeah.
But the game had passed Mike Ditka by that time. Man.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. New Orleans did that. New Orleans did that to put butts in the seats. And then when he drafted Ricky Williams, everybody was there to see that, and then it just faded away. You know what I mean? So he ended up being sorry for that, but that's beside the point anyway. All right, Smokin Jim, our closing thoughts are brought to you today by DJ Fun. Call DJ Fun today, 412-990-8448. Call DJ Fun if you need any kind of DJ for a party, special event, school dance, any kind of dance party or any kind of special event. Give DJ Fun a call. That number, 412-990-8448. And also sponsored by Sponsorship Advertising. You want to advertise on this program? Call me today, 412-545-4317. or ralphwilliams737@gmail.com. We have affordable advertising rates. You get Sports Corner Radio Show, and you get this podcast and some other and you get about 7 other podcasts. So you get 8 podcasts, plus you get this and an opportunity. As soon as my new website is up, we will go into button advertising again, where you could put your business, advertise it in business card form on rwmediaproductions.com or .org. So there you are there. Smokin' Jim, closing thoughts before we close up. Next week, we'll start off with the Miami Dolphins.
I tell you what, it was a very fun show, man. I enjoyed it. That it really made us scratch our heads and think.
Yeah, we had to do some thinking there for a minute, man. I had to pull out all the stops to get some information. And by the way, speaking of Dallas, they lost Dan Quinn as their defensive coordinator. I wonder how good their defense will be this year.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and they
did nothing in the off season.
No,
Dallas did zero.
No, they didn't do anything.
Season, so.
I feel bad for Mike McCarthy. You got to work down there with him, with Jerry or the Jones family. I just, So, what? Real quick here, what do you think the Steelers are going to do with Arthur Smith's offense? You think it's going to be power running game, or what do you think?
I think it's going to flourish. I think that. We got the running backs to take advantage of it. We got the play action quarterback to take advantage of it, and we got the wide receiver. We got a wide receiver and tight end that can take advantage of it. So we just got to add a few more pieces.
We got that new tight end from Atlanta, and then we got and Darnell Washington. I hope I get the ball to him a little more. You know what I mean? I forgot to talk about him yesterday when we were talking about tight ends.
I forgot about Darnell.
Yeah, he kind of went. He kind of went away like a fart in the wind.
Because he may fit better with Arthur Smith's offense for sure.
I think he will. Yeah, I'd like to see him get the ball a little more rumble down the field like he was supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So
nobody wants to tackle him.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I know you guys posted in the basement broadcast earlier about how about Mason Cole. I don't know if you noticed or not. Mason Cole had a neck sprain, and
I'm glad you told me that.
Remember last year when I told you about how James Daniels had to tap him to tell him when to snap the ball?
Yeah,
he had to do that because of that neck sprain.
Wow.
Because he couldn't put his neck down to look under. You know how the center always puts his neck down? He puts his neck up and looks around and points. You notice Mason Cole did none of that last year. Remember, he kind of stood there like a statue because he couldn't move his neck. He had a neck sprain, a real bad one. So he played with that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and he had a foot injury too. So a nagging foot injury. So, Mason Cole had some injuries. But remember when I told you about when I found out, and I asked Ray Fittipaldo, why does James Daniels keep tapping Mason Cole? He said because sometimes he can't hear the cadence, and he taps him with the fingers, and he uses his fingers as the signal. So if he taps him with a whole hand, that must mean some play. You understand what I'm saying? And then I found out too that it was because of that neck sprain. He couldn't move his neck around to turn and say, well, what's the play? Because James Daniels was turning his neck and saying, what's the play? Or if they had to change an audible, he had to make the right tap. You know what I mean?
I remember you caught that. I remember you brought that up several times.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, why is James Daniels the one turning his head to ask for the play or whatever, or look back at the quarterback? The center's supposed to be doing that. Then when I found out he had a neck sprain, I said, oh, there we go. That's why. And everyone forgot about that. And I brought that up tonight. I says he had a neck sprain and he had a bad foot injury too. So,
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I spoke to some bankers at one of the banks downtown in the main office. They said the Steelers are taking Phil Jakovic, tight end from Pitt, first round. So I got a better chance of getting struck by lightning than him going in the first round.
I know, he's trying for the NFL at tight end. He didn't run too well at the combine.
No. And he didn't participate in the catching drills. I
didn't know that.
I think one of the drills one of the important ones he didn't participate in. I think it was the catching drills, or the blocking drills. Was one of them he didn't participate in. So, he laid an egg. So I mean, and I don't know what happened to him at quarterback, but like you said, and I've come to notice this when I looked over some of his past games at Boston College and all and Notre Dame. He really was never that good of a quarterback. I mean, you know,
Wow.
he got his
Wow.
playing time a little bit at Notre Dame and did what he had to do. You know what I mean? So, all right, Juana says
Yeah.
here before we leave Smokin' Jim, we're going to wrap it up here. Yeah, it was such a great sports show, Ralph, and nice having you as a guest, Smokin' Jim Frazier. So there you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Warner.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank everyone for watching tonight in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios. Don't forget to call Mata today, 724-201-0500. And stay tuned. We have a new sponsor coming real soon. It's from Ohio, and I'll tell you what it's going to be when it gets here. So the contract's signed. As soon as I get the contract, we're going to be rolling. We got a new sponsor coming up, and it's called Steel City Sheds. They're from Warren, Ohio, outside of Youngstown. So we're going to be they're going to be one of our sponsors real soon here, Smokin' Jim. So just to let you and everyone else know, and you could be part of this team as well as a sponsor and advertiser. 412-545-4317. Have a great night. And it's another edition of Pittsburgh Sports Talk for Smokin' Jim Frazier. Oh, and Juana said, "Oh, you're quite welcome, Smokin' Jim Frazier." So there you go. All right, everyone, have yourselves a great night. Thank you so much. Please be